Good morning, everyone. Tropical Storm Michael drifted away from North Carolina last night, but it left behind a long track of damage. Today, our state begins recovering from yet another storm. During Michael, we saw wind gusts of almost 70 miles an hour in the Outer Banks, rain totaling almost 10 inches in Allegheny County, and most things in between. This morning, nearly 500,000 North Carolina homes and businesses are without power. We're grateful to the thousands of utility crews who are out there working to fix that. Flash floods receded overnight, but some rivers are still rising. The Dan and the Yadkin rivers are forecast to crest out of their banks today and tomorrow, but we don't expect much damage from that. Today, emergency managers and local governments began assessing damages to homes, roads, and public facilities in their communities. I urge everyone to remain safe while they inspect damages and work on cleanup efforts. There are many fallen trees that need to be removed, and that can be dangerous work. Be careful and use the proper safety equipment, and don't touch downed power lines. Hundreds of primary and secondary roads are closed. Many of them are blocked by trees. Department of Transportation crews are working today along with the North Carolina Forest Service to clear the trees and get the roads open. We saw some powerful rushing waters yesterday, and there are some roads that have been washed out and are unsafe for travel. DOT is working on those roads as well, and I have to caution again, never drive around barricades. Those roads are closed for a reason. At the coast, there'll be heavy surf and strong riptides caused by Michael, which is now out in the Atlantic. It'll be a beautiful weekend at the beach, but it's not a time to go in swimming. Sadly, at least one life in North Carolina was lost to Michael's fury. A man died yesterday in Iredell County when a tree fell in his vehicle while he was driving on US 64, and we mourn with his family and friends. We also have reports of a vehicle running into a fallen tree that resulted in 2 other people being killed in Mcneil County. We're waiting on official confirmation of that. Local first responders report rescuing nearly 100 people and evacuating many more yesterday from flash floods in Guilford, Forsyth, Iredell, Henderson, Burke, McDowell, and other counties. We thank again the first responders and swift water rescue teams who jump in whenever we need them. We have 31 school systems closed today, and 30 systems have delayed their openings. There were 8 shelters open for people who needed a safe place while Matthew passed through our state, but most of them will likely be closing soon. Our state emergency response team leaders are here again this morning, and I'm going to have you hear from some of them. We'll first hear from Emergency Management Director Mike Sprayberry. Mike?
Thank you, Governor. Good morning, everyone. Based on the decreased threat level, the State Emergency Operations Center activation level has been changed to a level 4. Our focus today is going to be on addressing damage, debris operations, and power restoration. Our National Guard teammates have completed their missions and are returning to home station, while our Forest Service, State Highway Patrol, and DOT partners are out working hard to get our roads passable and safe. Power restoration operations are ongoing by our utility partners. As you drive, please take special care as all of these professionals are working on or near our roadways to get our state back to normal. We also, once again, want to thank all of our local search and rescue teams who, once again, performed so well during Michael. And as always, follow the instructions of your local officials and stay tuned to your local media for situational awareness such as road closures and downed power lines. Thank you for your outstanding support of the North Carolina State Emergency Response Team during Tropical Storm Michael. Thank you, Governor.
We'll now hear from Colonel Glen Mcneil, the commander of the North Carolina Highway Patrol.
Thank you, Governor. Good morning. The State Highway Patrol continues to provide the needed response in the affected areas as a result of the storm. Many of our assets remain in place as we continue to provide assistance as needed. As roadway conditions continue to improve, our mission remains the same: to ensure that we do all that we can do to keep everyone safe while traveling. Since 6 a.m. Thursday morning through 6 a.m. today, we've responded to more than 1,000 traffic collisions and more than 2,000 calls for service across our state. We continue to stress our public safety messaging as motorists get out and about and travel throughout the weekend. These messages include not driving around barricades or attempting to travel through standing water. As roadway crews are out working, we also want to remind folks about our move-over law. Slow down if you approach utility crews out working and move over to give them space. While flood waters are receding in several areas, hazardous driving conditions are still present. Due to widespread power outages, intersections that have inoperable traffic lights should be treated as a four-way traffic stop intersection. Please continue to monitor drivenc.gov for up-to-date roadway conditions throughout the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Now Jim Trogdon, the Secretary of the North Carolina Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Governor. Today we still have 73 sites closed or roads closed due to Florence, and the number due to Michael increased from 119 yesterday in the afternoon to 358 roads this morning. And that includes 32 primary roads closed due to Hurricane or Tropical Storm Michael. I do have a graphic showing the locations of the closures just due to Michael, and you can see it extends all the way from Ashe and Watauga and Wilkes counties in the northwest down to fallen trees and debris into the eastern coastal areas. Most of the damage is due to debris and trees and power lines. So our crews are working very hard. They worked overnight clearing trees out of roads. They'll be doing that throughout today and coordinating with the power crews to make repairs as soon as possible. We do believe we'll make substantial progress today in clearing those trees out of all the roads that we have, the 358 closed now due to Hurricane Michael. Weather is great, which is going to help us. However, travel will be hazardous today because of those closures, because of the debris that's still in the roadway. And we do anticipate with rising water in the Yadkin River Basin, we may get some additional roads closed due to flooding today due to the rising waters from the Yadkin River. So please, if you're traveling, use drivenc.gov, find the latest information on road closures, and plan your routes before you leave home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. We're also grateful for Monica McGee, who is providing American Sign Language interpretation for us. I will leave here today and head out west to survey damages in several of our counties. Any of us will be glad to take questions that you might have.
Governor, obviously we extended the voter registration deadline after Florence. Any plans to do that again or in different areas because of Michael?
I'm not aware of any at this point. Travis.
Yes. I was wondering, do you envision that the extent of the damage here would require you to ask the federal government for any assistance, or is it something that can be handled by state and local funding?
We don't know. It has to get to a certain level, and those assessments are being made now. At a preliminary level, it may not reach the requirement to ask for a federal declaration. Would you agree with that, Mike, at this point? But we may be surprised, and it may be. So we want to make sure that North Carolina gets every dollar and every bit of attention it is entitled to, and we'll be looking at that today. That'll be one of the things that I'm looking at. Other questions?
Maybe the same question as far as the Florence relief bill that'll move Monday through the House and Senate. Will there be a Michael element to that? Or can you say at this point?
I can't say at this point. There may be some things, particularly if we don't qualify for federal assistance, that might be necessary for the state to step up to do. That would be with existing funds, but we don't know that for sure. So we're going to go out there today and see what the situation is.
Could we ask something about the Florence package?
Sure.
What have you've had a couple days now, what have you heard from legislators? They seem like they have a plan already and potentially finish in one day. I mean, are they gonna follow what you've requested?
Well, we have made a very detailed presentation to legislative leaders. They listened intently and asked some good questions, and we feel positive that they believe that there are many good ideas in our proposal. We just hope that it will be significant enough to make a real difference. We haven't heard back yet from on their reaction to our proposal at this point, but hope to this weekend and probably hope to some today. And we look forward to continuing discussions with them. This is a critical piece of legislation to make sure that we put aside enough money so that we'll know what we need to do to rebuild North Carolina stronger and smarter. All right. Thank you very much, folks.